Hi, this is Carolyn, and I'm here with Aaron, and we are excited to have back on the podcast Swupnil. Swupnil is the CEO of SwingVision, and Aaron and I are big fans of SwingVision. Aren't we, Aaron?
We are. I've been using it a lot lately, actually.
So, Swupnil, thank you for coming back on the podcast. And in case people didn't hear our previous episode, can you tell our listeners what SwingVision is?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me back. It's always fun to chat with you both. And yeah, a bit of background on SwingVision. So it's the tennis app that you can use to record your game. You set up your iPhone behind the baseline, and it will automatically track stats of all the players on the court, generate highlights of kind of the best rallies and shots. And you can even use it to call the lines now. So it really does kind of everything, and it brings that sort of Grand Slam quality experience to any amateur player, and you can use it on any court in the world. And all you really need is an iPhone, which is kind of the coolest part about it.
Yeah, I think the thing that we were most excited about at the beginning was the line calling, because Carolyn and I are both, Carolyn especially, hates having to be her own referee.
Yes. It's the thing I hate about tennis. I hate that about tennis.
It's the one thing. She played other sports growing up that always had somebody, reffing whatever, a basketball game or whatever. So I think that's what we were most excited about. But you have so many cool new features, and so much has happened since we had you on last. So do you want to talk about the latest additions and what's coming out soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think the line calling is probably a good one to talk about first, but that's been such a huge focus of ours. And it's really interesting because when we first started the company, we weren't even thinking that was going to be possible actually, because, we thought, okay, well, in the slams, you have Hawkeye that has 10 cameras. And then in college, they tried PlaySight for a bit, which also required 8 cameras or something like that. So we didn't really think we'd be able to solve this with one camera. The idea was just, okay, let's just try to get some stats on our game like the pros. And it's not going to be as accurate, but it might be good enough for amateurs. And that's where we started with it. But then it's been really fascinating to see, as we've just seen so many customers over the last few years using the product all around the world. The AI accuracy has gotten so much better. And then obviously the camera quality has also gotten a lot better on these smartphones. And so we're at a point now where we can actually call the ball more accurately than the players, especially for those close calls, which are always the most contentious. So we actually have this metric. Basically, if the ball lands within 10 centimeters of a line, we can actually see it more clearly. We can call it in or out better than a human can. And that's really powerful because, it's just crazy to think that your phone can do this. But it kind of makes some sense because humans see it around 30 frames per second. Your iPhone is capturing video at 60 frames per second. So it's kind of seeing twice as much information. And basically the ball looks like it's moving in slow motion to the AI. And so that's why it's able to see it more accurately than you. And so it's really cool. And so we've gone to that point. That was a big update that we've been working on, and that rolled out kind of earlier this year. And now we're actually talking with various associations to get SwingVision approved for line calling in junior tournaments. So that's going to be kind of the initial focus. And then separately, we're also talking to the ITA to get this rolled out in college tennis, which, as you know, also has lots of bad line calls and cheating. And so we're really trying to solve the problem for everybody. And as you mentioned, it's crazy that there's no refs in most of competition tennis unless you're playing at the really highest levels. And so, even Division I tennis doesn't really have, it's the players that are calling the lines. It's just insane. And so this has to change. And we're finally going to be able to solve this problem with basically the most affordable option out there on the market. And it's really just one iPhone. And we will build a 2 iPhone solution. So if you wanted to put one on each side, you can get the ultimate accuracy. But you won't really notice that much of a difference as a player because one is already better than the players. And, we're continuously evolving that and making that more accurate kind of every month as we get more data. But that's been super exciting. And, always been a big goal of ours.
Carolyn, I've been using the challenge on my Apple Watch. That is so fun. So I'll let you explain it, Swupnil, instead, because you just hit a button that says challenge, and then it shows the ball, and you can use what's the little, I'm pointing to it. Nobody can. The digital crown. You can go back and forth, and the ball kind of bounces, back and forth, if you use the crown. But can you explain that feature? That's super fun for me.
Yeah, it's so fun. Basically, there'll be a ball that's super close, and me and my opponent have no clue. It's just too fast. We had no idea. Maybe it was in, maybe it was out, 50-50 chance. But then we pull up the Apple Watch, hit the challenge button, and it shows you a slow motion replay. And you can go back and forth frame by frame, actually, with the digital crown, which is really cool. So you can very precisely see where it bounced. And then SwingVision also gives you a result as well. So it says whether it's in or out.
In or
and you
out,
can just verify. And there's been so many times where it's like very obvious in the video, but like we had no idea when we saw it. Like that one time you get to see it. So it's pretty fascinating. But I think I think that feature really shows you the power of this technology, because like you'll often see shots like that where it just comes by too quickly and your eyes just can't perceive it accurately, but the technology sees it very clearly. And so, yeah, that's been super fun. And yeah, like I said, like eventually that's going to get to a point where you're never going to have to challenge. Your watch will just like buzz you and say it's out, right? Like that's clearly where this is going to go.
Can't
Which
wait.
is so cool.
Yes.
Tennis can be so frustrating. After a match, there's been so many times where I've left the match and had no idea what happened. And I remember my husband will ask me, how was your match? You know, what worked, what didn't? And I have no idea. And this will completely take that away.
I had a match the other day and I literally said, and I lost it. And I said, I wish I had SwingVision, because I couldn't tell anybody what happened. And I said, that is a match. I wish I had SwingVision, because, you know, it wasn't super close. We had like 100 deuces. I mean, we had so many, but it's like, you can say, well, duh, you didn't win because you didn't get any of those deuce games, or, you know, you were broken or whatever. But like, what specifically happened? And I walked off the court and I said, I wish I would have recorded that match with SwingVision.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the way you guys described it right there, that's like exactly why we started the company. Like we had the same issue, you know, we play a match, lose, you don't know what happened. There was no basic data, no basic video, right? And this kind of solves both. And yeah, I constantly use it for that. Like if I lose a match, like you kind of have some intuition, right? When you're playing, like, oh man, my serve's just like off today. But like, it's very hard to diagnose like why exactly. You just don't have enough time to do that. Like you're just trying to focus on winning the points, right? So it's like very hard to like course correct within the match itself often. But afterwards, you can see it and like, let's just look at the serves I missed. And it's like, oh, it's so obvious. Like I was like, my toss was off or whatever it is. Like you can just see it right away. So that's definitely the beauty and the power of it. And it's just like insane how fast you can improve just by watching like a couple minutes of your video. Like it does not take much time. Just like literally, you sit down in the car after the match, you already know like what you did wrong. Like it's so powerful.
Yeah, I changed my stroke, like my forehand. Like I love my forehand, but I was doing some weird little hitchy things, and I recorded 2 times and like solved it just like that. The fact that I can record it and see that is really like life-changing tennis-wise. So
yeah, and I think you mentioned this at the beginning, but SwingVision takes away all the dead space. So when you have a match, you can watch your entire match in like 15 minutes instead of trying to watch 2 hours. I don't want to watch 2 hours of myself, but I could watch, you know, when I'm waiting for my kids in carpool, I'll pull it up and be like, okay, let me see these points. And so I think it's great.
Definitely. That's the most popular feature probably. It's just the fact that you can just watch the match in like 15 minutes, like so efficient, saves so much time.
Yeah. And the fact that you guys as in your company, just made little highlight reels for me already. Thank you. I don't have to do any of that. I just watched like the 5 most exciting, you know, rallies. That's great. So I asked kind of before we started recording if you wake up every day just being like, what a great life. Like you've made this magical, it really is kind of a magical tennis tool for people. And I'm sure you remember when we talked almost a year and a half ago now, I said, I think I was the one that told you that I felt a little bit silly going out with like the swings. I don't have the new swing stick, which I actually want, because that new patented swing stick that you guys made looks so cool. But I have the old one, you know, that came with mine. And I felt kind of silly, like I put it in my bag and sort of walk out. Now, every time I go to the court, people literally stop me and say, oh, did you record your match? What are you using? What are you now I'm like proudly like pulling that thing out and putting it up there. Every person around me stops, like multiple people, you know, what are, you know,
so cool.
It really does. I mean, it really will solve so much stuff in rec tennis if we can get it, you know, more to the masses and more accepted, but it just sounds like the technology is there.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear. And thank you for being such an early adopter. I know it's definitely awkward in the early days when you're like the only person using your product in your like community or your friend group. But like it's, you know, folks like you who kind of make sure this technology stays alive and like stays around long enough that it can continue improving. And yeah, we're definitely really proud and always excited to see just like how pervasive it's become in the tennis community now. And like this whole concept of recording your match has just become like a norm, which is really cool.
Yes.
And so, you know, we want to just continue pushing that out, and that's all just going to become normal. Like it's going to feel really awkward at first and people are going to feel weird using it, but that's just how technology is. And, you know, I think we'll all realize once it gets adopted, you know, 5 years from now, it's going to be like, how are we ever playing without this? You know, like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad we made a positive impact on the sport and the community. And yeah, definitely always proud of that. And that's what keeps us going, is like knowing that we can continue to make like an even bigger impact as the product continues to scale and reach more people and do more things, right? And solve more problems. So super exciting times.
The other thing I love is if you're friends with someone on SwingVision, like I have a friend, Lynn, in San Diego, who uses it every time she plays. And so I'll be, I'm 3 hours ahead of her. So at night I'll be sitting, on my couch, or whatever. And it's like, Lynn has started a match. And then like I can watch hers after, like just to see what other people are doing, around the country, around the world. I love that I can like kind of go into a feed and look at other people's, highlights or whatever I want. So I don't know. I love that feature. I want to know what other people are doing when I'm, kind of on my own island out here doing my thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like in the early days, it's funny because we've had that feature like since the first launch, but like no one cared about it initially because they're like, well, I don't really care about random people. Like I just want to record my game. So it was like very focused on like single player mode. But now that everybody has like friends or even just like semi-famous people that they know or whatever, like kind of like an Instagram influencer or whatever, right? Like now you can just find them or that college player that we featured like last week or whatever it is, right? Like you can find those players on the app now and like follow them. It's so cool. And so I think this community aspect is like starting to build. We've even heard from customers who will use the feed to look at people who are just above their level. So like if I'm a 4.0, I might look at the feed and say, show me the 4 or 5 players. And let me look at how they're playing. Like, what are they doing differently from me? And like, they're actually using it to improve their game and learn, which is pretty fascinating. Like, we did not expect anybody to use it like that. So I think there's some really cool opportunities there still. And I think, in the junior space, I think that'd be so cool to be able to use that for like recruiting purposes. If you're a college coach, you could easily find like players, anywhere in the world, literally, who are playing and like actually watch them and, maybe reach out to them and be like, hey, you should come like play at our school. Like, I just think there's so much potential there with all that content that we have. I mean, we don't even have like the bandwidth to like address all those things yet, but I mean, hopefully over time we will. But yeah, I'm personally really excited about the community aspect, like having more leaderboards, like competing with your friends on the platform, maybe even having leaderboards within your club so like you can compete with other members. Like I just think there's so much cool opportunity there that's going to, again, just elevate the experience, make it more fun, make you more motivated to play as well, right? But that's good to hear that you're already finding value in that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Although Carolyn told me the other day, didn't you say the other day, stop using SwingVision because now I can see every time you play tennis and I'm not playing right now.
Yes. I've not been able to play for a little bit and I get a notification, Aaron is playing, which I am actually very happy about. But we also had on the podcast, Swupnil, we had Kenny who won the 4.0 national championship. And he said he always used SwingVision and he used it for his matches. And he would also kind of like check out the other players that he was going to play on SwingVision. And then he said he played, and I found this too, when I've used it in matches, then afterwards, everybody wants to see it. They want to see themselves. Yeah. And then it's a way that you kind of make a friend out there because now, you exchange phone numbers and you text them the match. And it's kind of, it makes the experience a little bit better and a little bit more friendly even.
Definitely. I mean, it's funny. Like I always do if I'm playing a league match, like I'll get their email, send it to them afterwards, even though we were opponents for that like 2 hour of time, but like after that, it's like, hey, here's a match. Like it's kind of fun to just look at. And it's funny, actually, one of our investors I actually met like that. So we never knew each other. We like just met at a UST league match. I sent it to him afterwards. We kind of, established a bit of a relationship, started texting each other. And then eventually he actually invested in the company. So you never know where these connections will take you, but it's just so fascinating that like that enables that connection, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, that's awesome to see, more people doing that too.
Yeah. And if they don't want to do it, I think they're cheaters. Right.
I love you, Carolyn.
Because it adds it adds the benefit of the doubt. Because I think a lot of rec players or adult rec players, you're supposed to give your opponent the benefit of the doubt. I feel like when there's a camera up there, all of a sudden that's added into the game.
That's a good point. Yeah. And people who don't want to get caught, maybe.
Exactly.
It was funny. I had one guy, I was playing a league match. I mean, it was just like a 4.0 league match. Like, it's not that serious, right? But like, and I was just like keeping score on my watch.
It is to us, Swupnil.
No. I mean, it is serious for sure.
But we know in the grand scheme of life. Yeah.
Once you hear the end of the story, you're going to be like, really? Like, okay. But like, so I was recording the video and I was using my watch to keep score. And then my dad was watching. And he came up to me at the changeover, this guy who I was playing, and he's like, what are you doing on your watch? Like, are you getting texts from your dad? Like, are you getting coaching? I'm like, dude, it's a 4.0 league match. Like, I'm just playing on the weekend here. Like, I'm not getting coaching for a match like this. Like, calm down, So it's just like so silly. So,
that is silly.
So some of that happens sometimes. But yeah, I think all that's just like familiarity with the product, right? Like, I think as more people use it, as more people hear about it, they're going to be like, oh, this is cool. Like, you should definitely record it. Like, I'd love to get my video and get my stats and get the highlights and share it with my family. So I think like as people understand the benefits and get more familiar and comfortable with it, then hopefully those things will go away. But there's always like people who resist technology, but that group always shrinks over time. So,
yeah. Is there anything we missed, Swupnil, that you want to talk about with SwingVision?
I mean, I think the only other thing to mention is just like the new swing stick that you're talking about. We've kind of moved all production to that. So this is like, well, actually some backstory. So the mount that we were selling before, which is called the QM1, it's been made by a guy in Colorado named Mike Lamons. So he invented it. He has a patent for it. He actually invented it like 10 years ago. And so he's been selling it for the last decade. It's mostly been sold to like coaches who were like avidly recording with like GoPros and stuff like that. And so we saw that that was the best solution on the market for mounting your phone. So we actually went and bought the patent from him. And then we expanded on his design. And so we've made this really nice, beautiful all black design. It has a SwingVision branding. It's just improvements in every possible way you could think of. It's more reliable. It's more sturdy. It just aesthetically looks a lot nicer. It has a built-in sunshade to protect your phone.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yes. I love that part. Yeah.
And then it even extends a couple feet above the fence. So like where you attach it to the fence, it actually allows your phone to go 2 feet higher than that, which gives an even better angle, especially on the far side of the court. It gives you more accurate line calling and all that stuff. And then while doing all these things, this like selfie stick device essentially is smaller than any tennis racket out there. So like it fits in any tennis bag. It's just like so simple. It's like 3 pounds, super light. And so we're now building it ourselves. We're manufacturing it ourselves. We're selling it to all new customers now. You can buy it on our website. It's $50. But if you get it with a subscription, we actually have a bundle. And I'll send you guys a link that you can share to your listeners for this, but it will allow them to get the swing stick for free if they purchase 1 year of the subscription. And that also gives you like a 45-day money back guarantee. So it's like a no-brainer to just get it, try it out. If you don't like it, just return it. But I'm pretty confident you're going to like it. And
we are too.
And we're also going to have a gift option as well. So, going into like the holidays, if you want to gift this to a friend, you can do that. A friend or family member.
Or your captain.
It's going to be such a cool,
or your captain gift. Ooh, that's a great idea.
And so whether you're playing tennis or pickleball, you'll be able to gift it to them. And it's really cool. So that's just one thing I wanted to mention. I think that the new stick is awesome, and it's just like such a joy to use, I think. And it has our branding on it and everything. And it just fits in really nicely with kind of your tennis gear. And I'm just hoping like this just becomes like part of everybody's tennis gear. Like everyone has a swing stick. It's just like the easiest way, the best way to record your game. So yeah, even if you're not using SwingVision, you should get it because it's just the best way to record. Like there's no better device. So, even from that standpoint.
I have the old one and it's been fine, but I've had my eye on that one. So I'm definitely going to order that.
Thanks very much to Swupnil for coming on the podcast. If you'd like to get a free swing stick, which is a $100 value with your first year of SwingVision Pro, you can use our referral link in our show notes. Also, we have another episode with Swupnil where he will discuss how SwingVision is making the ball machine not so boring and also data that could help you win. Thanks so much for listening and hope to see you on the court soon.